Hello, my dears. It's Kofi, and I'm back with another video for you. If you're British, please don't be offended by that. I know it was a terrible impression. Um, Please remember to like and subscribe and share this video if you know any other autistic individuals who might benefit. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about executive dysfunction. To get a very clear definition for you, executive dysfunction refers to difficulties with planning, organizing, and completing tasks, which can impact daily life. A lot of people with ADHD and autism and brain injuries as well struggle with executive dysfunction. Let's get right into it. Let's start with time management. Time management is definitely something that I've struggled with in the past. I don't know about you guys, but when you're doing something like, let's say, you only have a certain amount of time to complete an exam or an essay, and you might struggle with figuring out how long it actually takes. You may feel like there was a certain amount of time that passed, but there may be a different amount of time that actually passed. It might be shorter or longer. You may just have trouble with your internal clock, so to speak. It makes different tasks difficult to accomplish because real life, neurotypical world that we live in, everything is monitored by a certain set time. That is very difficult for people who are on the spectrum at times. So, what do I do when I have to start maintaining things on my schedule and it's all based on a certain restricted amount of time? I have to practice with a timer, and this has to be a visual timer, something I can see. It doesn't just work to have like a I need something visual, and I think that that would help you guys too. Let's see, like, you know how sometimes you could have out of an actual clock. Maybe it's your phone clock, like a stopwatch, or maybe it's one of those timers that has a visual, like red, coded out period for the amount of time that has elapsed. Like something visual like that, a visual timer, could really help you if you're on the spectrum because it will allow you to actually see the amount of time passing by instead of just relying on your internal clock. Something else that we struggle with is task initiation, starting tasks. I know it's always been hard for me to start things, especially if I'm very nervous about it, if I have anxiety about not doing well enough. A lot of it comes from procrastination, which also is it roots in like perfectionism. I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is perfect. And so I keep thinking about it and thinking about it and overthinking it. And that just pushes, the amount of time that you need, time management, uh, into the future. And before you know it, you'll be out of time. So, task initiation is just a difficulty starting things. One way I combat this is breaking down steps, like the large tasks that I have to accomplish, breaking it down to smaller steps so I won't be so overwhelmed. So sometimes I'll take that task and break it down into 4 smaller steps. It'll make it easier. Try not to overthink it. Or another way I cure this is I think of like, geez, why am I so nervous about this task? Or other people wouldn't even be worried about it. They just start it with no problem. I fix it by trying to think of why it's so difficult for me. And when I start to take those smaller steps, I just think, oh, maybe I'll just use 75%. I'll just put 75% of effort into what I'm working on. And then I'll probably end up starting the task and I'll probably go in doing 100% because I'm so hyper focused on that task. So just think about not doing it perfect. Try to have like a sloppy start. Do a rough draft of the beginning, just do a shot in the dark. Just try to start that and tell yourself it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it started a little bit. Sometimes that will carry you through. The next thing I have to talk about is task switching. Task switching is difficult for a lot of us because it's like you're stopping the thing you're doing now and it's hard to let go of that current thing and start another thing. It's just you might be very hyper focused on that initial task that you might not want to go into the future and start something different or change. Change is very hard for individuals on the spectrum. We don't want to change tasks. We don't want to change what we're doing. When things change, it really upsets me. When I get, because I eat the same thing over and over again, if I get my regular foods that I eat and they've changed the label, that will upset me because it's not how I have to find it in the store. It doesn't look how it used to look. If they changed, let's say, an ingredient, I will know immediately. And I will be very upset if they changed it. So that's task switching. Sometimes it's easier if you take a stim toy with you in the transition. Transitions are so hard for us. If you take a stim toy with you or you listen to some music while you're switching tasks, that can help to lighten the load to make things a little less daunting for you and a little less daunting for that change. Another type of executive dysfunction that I struggle with is organization of spaces. A lot of autistic people have issues with this. Maintaining organized spaces can be difficult because, well, I don't know how it is for you guys, but when it's with me, I find it hard to keep up with organizing spaces a little bit at a time so that it never gets too cluttered, too messy. I tend to like drink a bunch of coffee and then um, do an entire sweep of my room, for example, top to bottom, and like it's perfect for a few days and then it gets more and more cluttered over time. So it's hard to maintain the organization of those spaces because it's like I don't see the mess until it's overwhelmingly there. So I'm working on maintaining spaces, organization of spaces a little bit at a time, like the neurotypicals do. Or you could, do it how autistic people do. You don't have to be like them. You can be yourself and you can learn new skills and sharpen those skills. So maybe a little bit at a time is the trick. Honestly, learning the concept of a little bit at a time will help you so much as an autistic person. It doesn't have to be so black and white, everything. Maintaining routines. You either will struggle with this or love this, okay? Autistic people tend to love routine and hate change and hate surprises. I always hated surprises. I love routines. And when you establish a routine that works for you and one that is beneficial to your life, it can change your life. I mean, as an autistic person, once you establish a routine, that will be wonderful. Unless it's a bad habit, then that can be a struggle, right? If you have autism, you have executive dysfunction, and you struggle with maintaining routines in a bad way, like let's say you have a routine maintained and it's counterproductive to your livelihood, that can be quite bad. That's how so many of us become addicts or addicted to romance or love or addicted to self harm or addicted to other things that are bad for us. But to maintain a routine, I recommend you try to make it as comfortable as possible. I know that's not possible for everybody, in adult world, but if you can learn to just make small changes over time and establish a written out routine that is good for you, it will make it easier to see it on the list, check things off, and once you get into the habit of it, it will come naturally. It could take a few weeks, a few months, probably a few months. Shouldn't take multiple years. If it's taking multiple years, maybe you need to change a little something, make things more comfortable for you, and accommodate yourself. The last thing I want to discuss is managing overwhelm from multiple responsibilities. This is something that autistic kids deal with, teens, especially adults, though, because that is when we have the most responsibilities in our life, likely. when you're an adult, it can be so overwhelming trying to balance work, life, doing things you enjoy. If you don't do the things you enjoy, if you don't find time for it, I swear you will become burnt out and it will not be a happy life. You gotta find at least 10 minutes to do something that you love, okay? It doesn't have to be every single day. Maybe at least find some times on the weekend to do something you enjoy. The higher up I got in my education, I noticed that the harder it became to maintain my creativity and doing art I enjoy, playing music that I enjoy. It's like as my logical brain grew sharper, my creative brain grew smaller, underdeveloped. It's like a muscle I wasn't using, so it shrank. You've got to enjoy yourself in life in some way, somehow, or managing overwhelm will be very difficult for you. One way you can manage overwhelm with multiple responsibilities as an autistic adult is if you learn how to do things in a way that you enjoy, for example, or if you need to learn how to accommodate yourself in life too, because there really aren't a whole lot of resources for us, let's be honest. Autistic adults, once you hit 18, you might not get accommodations you need, like me. You might not get the friends you need. You might not, you've got to accommodate yourself. You have to make ways for yourself, or people probably won't do it for you. They may be very invalidating about your autism. I've faced that before, and it does happen in real life, unfortunately. So, to manage your overwhelm, some last remarks. For example, if you have to work, let's say you work 40 hours a week, you're a 9 to 5er, you've got this job, and but let's say you're really struggling with the fact that you have to go into the office and mask and perform socially for everybody. Maybe it's time you found a remote job. That may be, easier said than done, but really, if you work on your resume and you find someone who's hiring, I know you can find a remote job that will work for you. Maybe that will help you, and even though you're still doing 9 to 5, you get to do 9 to 5 at home. That's an accommodation that could be really great for a person on the spectrum. How else do I manage overwhelm? A lot of overwhelm comes from the different executive dysfunction issues that we've talked about today, like time management or task initiation or task switching, changing tasks, transitions. Transitions can make it very hard to keep overwhelm from multiple responsibilities at bay, because when you have multiple responsibilities, you have to, of course, switch between them. You might find it hard. Maybe you need 5 minutes of relaxation between transitioning tasks. You just have to meet yourself where you are and don't try to push yourself. Don't try to change yourself, because that will not work. The autistic brain, in my opinion, is quite stubborn. You have to meet yourself where you are. Treat yourself like someone you love. Be patient with yourself and your needs and your accommodations, and really take the time to learn about yourself and the issues that you struggle with. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to see, if you have any YouTube ideas. I will make more videos for you guys, and I will see you next time. I'll try to upload more consistently. I was trying to see if I could do it every week, but that didn't work out. But I did have some life changes, so I'm going to try to stay consistent this time. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful existence, and that you are kind with yourself. So, bye guys. Like and subscribe and share. Bye bye.